My name is Collin Swift, and I've been basically a lifelong friend of Doug Burke, who was an archaeologist and who I've been on many digs with over the years.
You were instrumental in the rediscovery of the Bolio House. Can you give us a brief backstory of what occurred there and what your connections were?
Okay, the Bolio site, or the Bolio House, kind of was an incidental thing because my wife at that time was living in Brainerd, and one of her roommates was Joyce Moran. Well, she married Larry Moran. And of course they lived in the old Bolio site right outside of Camp Ripley on the east side of the river there. And over the years we knew them for quite a number of years, and they decided to build a new house. And before they built the new house, they had tried to do some remodeling inside on the Bolio house and found that there was walls that were 2 feet thick almost, and they were all hewn log construction and so on. And Larry's family knew a little bit about the history of it because he talked about someone in his family had moved that house, or that section of the house, down there. And I described it to Doug, and he said, well, geez, that sounds like it might have been one of the houses at Old Crow Wing. And as a result, he started doing some more research on it, and he met with Larry and Joyce down there, and they discussed what they knew about it. And at that point in time, he came to the conclusion that it was the Bolio House. And as a result, it was finally moved up to Crow Wing.
And as part of that project, the Friends of Crow Wing group actually organized because of that.
Yes, that's correct. I don't remember exactly the details on how that all came about, but I know Pete was involved in some of it, and there were quite a few others that were interested parties that were interested in preserving the house. And Morans were too. They, if there was any historical significance to it, they thought it should be saved rather than torn down before they built their new house.
And they donated the structure for that purpose.
Yes, they did.
How about your own passion for history and archaeology? Just anything that you might touch on with that to wrap up, Collin.
Well, I guess I had an interest in history from back years and years ago, because I can remember following my dad when he was plowing ground and picking up arrowheads out of the plow furrows. And then, of course, when my folks they bought an 80 acres just outside of Pine River, and in doing a little bit of research back at that time, which I was probably in 8th grade, because it was after 6th grade Minnesota history, I can remember that. But we kind of determined, Doug and I, that the original site of the Barclay post was on the property that my folks owned, and I still own that piece of property. And of course, that was just a trading site, and it was also the fording site for the South Fork of the Pine River on the Leech Lake Road, which ran from Old Crow Wing up to Agency Bay on Leech Lake.
And that's another, the Leech Lake Road actually is one of the linear features that we're mapping with this project. And McAvoy, who laid out the road with a survey team and had it built, it started at the Bolio House at Crow Wing. So everything seems to connect back to the Bolio House.
It all ties together with that Bolio House.
Yes.
Interesting. The trading post, the Barclay trading post, was actually only on that property for about, as I could recollect, somewhere around 5 years, and then the railroad decided to move or position the railroad tracks approximately a mile away from where the trading post was, and Barclay moved his post then up beside, or the end of the property that the railroad would be taking through. But the old post site is still on my property there.
And I need to see it sometime.
You better.
Yes.
You better.